Welcome back to Boneitch. My name is Luca and I have Tourettes. And welcome back to another episode of How We Tic, in which I talk with people that have Tourettes or another tic disorder from all over the world, from different ages, with different experience, so we can all learn more about their personal experience, all to end the stigma surrounding Tourette's and all of the other tic disorders. Today we're going to meet Leo. Leo is 15 years old, he lives in the United States, and he started developing tics. Apart from that, he also suffers from different mental health issues, and he is FTM trans, just like me. So I was really interested in learning more about his experience, and I think you'll really like him. Show him some love in the comments below, he really deserves it. Okay, let's do this. So thank you so much for being a part of that.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. Maybe just like get into it and maybe start with an introduction and like who are you?
My preferred name is Leo. I go by they, them, or he, him. And I was born a female and I live in the United States. It's really it's always been a goal of mine for as long as I can remember to help other people learn more about serious conditions, because I've had depression for a couple years. I've suffered with anxiety for about a year and a half, ADHD, and it's a lot. But I mean, if it makes me happy, then I would tour the world speaking about it, my experience.
That's so cool. That's really good. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, because people really need that to understand more about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially but with people not understanding, saying it's all fake, saying it's all in our heads. It's really hurtful and they don't see it.
That's true. I mean, it is in some sense in our head, as in that our brains are in our head, but that doesn't make it less real, of course. And people don't really get that. And I think that's really cool that you want to be, part of the change and make people understand stuff more. So I think that's really cool. Yeah. So thank you. I like that. Cockatoo, fuck off. Uh-oh.
Oh, shut up. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. This happens. This is the natural thing. I was really ticky today, so I was trying to do some being a bit calm, because I mean, if I start, then usually it becomes a whole thing. So. But this happens. This is part of it, I think.
Yeah, my ADHD has been really bad this week, so it's been hard for me to sit still, and then it gets my tics going, and it's
yeah, it's I can relate. I know what that's like. Yeah, it's a struggle. It's just, I mean, you get used to it, but it remains. And when you get used to it, it changes, and you're like, well, now we can start all over again.
I was going to say, it's something like having a schedule, and once you get used to it without having to look at it, and then it just changes.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, that's how you don't really get used to it. I mean, you get better at adjusting when it changes, but it does its own thing, and that's interesting. But I mean, you mentioned that you only quite recently started having tics. So what was that like? What's the story behind that?
Well, when I first saw my tics, it was really weird. I didn't understand what was going on. And then a short while after that, I was going through YouTube, and then I see in my recommended feed, Sweet Anita, which, yeah, she's a really good person. She's really insightful into Tourette's and gaming, because I play video games as well, and yeah, sometimes I have a weird tic when I'm playing, because I play on controller. I sometimes wiggle the joystick around, and couple of people I play with, they know me for me and not just how good I am at video games. I'm really glad to have such supportive friends.
Oh, that's good. So what are some of your favorite games at the moment?
I don't really play too much because I've got school and I've also got like chores around the house and stuff. But I do play Overwatch quite a bit, and I also play a lot of GTA recently, and just a lot of others, smaller games.
That's good. I haven't played GTA since GTA Vice City came out. That's how old I am. I wasn't allowed because I played it wrong. I have four younger brothers, and they didn't like how I played it because I didn't really follow the game rules. But
there's really no wrong way to play a game.
That's true. I wish I had that insight when I was fighting with them. The game. And Sweet Anita, of course, yeah. I mean, she does some cool stuff. I think she really helped get Tourette's more like well known into society in a way that's kind of positive, even though she gets some harsh critiques as well, which is sadly part of the thing of being online. But yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's also part of the society not understanding Tourette's and tics in general.
So what are your tics like? Since you only like recently started to develop tics, what was that like to start having that all of a sudden?
Well, I mean, it was hard at first. Like at first I was suppressing more at school. And then once I learned that I had a couple friends who were comfortable with me being who I was, then I kind of let myself stop suppressing them. So I didn't have as bad tics when I got home.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's important. Oh, that's really great that you have some friends that are, really supportive. And in general at school, how do teachers react? Do they understand what tics are? And
yeah, they also know about like the fact that I have ADHD, and so, like they see me like unfocused, and they try to help me get back into like a focused point.
That's really good. I'm happy to hear that. Cockatoo, fuck up. Because I can imagine. Sorry?
So I said shut up. It was a vocal tic. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I don't take tics personally. That's. I mean, I'm calling you a cockatoo, and I'm sure you're not secretly a cockatoo. Cockatoo.
I mean, I'm not like
Oh
that.
no. Oh, I had a thought. Wait. Oh yeah, because I mean, I can imagine because I'm also trans, so I'm also FTM trans and have Tourette's, but I didn't come out as trans until I was like 25 or something. And I can imagine that being quite intense when you're in school and you have tics and ADHD and other mental health issues as well, and being in school, which is an experience, and being trans. So what's that like?
I haven't really felt comfortable coming out about it, but I still do tell people my preferred name and pronouns I at least tell them to use they, them for me. Because, like, I don't know if I can trust them, but, like, if I can, then, I mean, it's either lose or keep my friends. And, I mean, a big issue that I've been dealing with. Like, do I tell them? Do I not tell them? Do I let people know who I am?
I can imagine, yeah. So, like, in general, at school, do you, like, prefer not to talk about it? Or what is, like, your strategy in general?
It's more of a anxiety thing. Like, I get anxious when I try to open up about things. I'm trying to, like, work on that. So far, I've made quite a bit of progress.
Really happy to hear that. That's really good. Because it's scary. I mean, I came out when I was 25, 26, and I was really scared. And even like being like someone with Tourette's who is trans and with ADHD and all the other stuff related to that, it was still really scary. And I know that school is not easy. Yeah, I can imagine that being something, difficult.
Yeah.
Cockatoo. So then it's like extra, like exciting, maybe even a bit scary to have your face online and telling your story.
But I mean, it's also really helpful to like a whole bunch of communities at once.
That's true. Yeah. I agree. Absolutely. I think it's really important, but I also think it's really cool that you do this. So what if someone from your school not from your friend group, but from your school all of a sudden sees this video? What would that be like?
I would probably, I wouldn't try to hide it anymore. Like if they saw it, then they saw it. I can't control what they do or don't see.
That's true. Then it's done. That's good. So about your tics. So how do people around you react to your tics?
Well, first off, the friends that do accept my tics, they're cool about it. They don't try to make fun of me. They don't laugh at me. And if I start laughing, they laugh with me.
Oh, that's good. Do you find that humor helps sometimes?
Yeah, it really does. It makes the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah. I mean, tics can be funny, of course. I mean, there's no denying in that.
Yeah. A while back, I noticed that I had a couple Alice in Wonderland based tics, and it's really weird.
But it is interesting how that, where in the brain do these things exist? It's like...
Yeah, and it's been years since I've seen Alice in Wonderland. So for them to only recently, present themselves, it's weird.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, like somewhere in your brain that was stored, and all of a sudden there was just this is what we're going to do now. But Alice in Wonderland is cool, so that's...
Yeah, it was one of my favorite films as a kid.
Same. Cockatoo. Fuck.
Look like on that.
No.
Well, thanks for that.
Fuck off. Have a sip. Keep hydrated. So, do you know any other people in your your day-to-day life that has tics as well?
I do have a friend who I recently learned has a diagnosis of Tourette's, but the weird thing is I don't think I've ever seen or heard any tics.
That's really, yeah, but it's possible, of course, yeah. I mean, Tourette's for many people can be quite invisible. I mean, I think there are many more people with Tourette's that just don't know that they have it just because their tics are just so not visible, or they might have a vocal tic that's just or flexing their abs or something, and no one ever sees that, but they just don't, because I think that many people just think about Tourette's as people that swear and
shout random things.
Yeah, which I do, but I mean not everyone with Tourette's of course does that. So did you get diagnosed with Tourette's as well, or are you still waiting on that?
I'm still kind of waiting because I'm looking for someone in my area who's a specialist.
I can imagine, yeah, because I don't know what that's like in the US, because of course I'm not from there. Is it easy to get treatment for Tourette's around where you live?
Actually, I'm not sure because where I live, it's a small area. There's not many big companies, so I wouldn't think that it's easy. But I mean, I don't really know.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, because our country is so small. I mean, you can drive through our entire country in 4 hours, and then that's it. That's the entire country. So everything's quite close here, which makes some stuff really easy. So have you been in contact with any people from any Tourette's associations or groups on online or?
I've tried. I couldn't really find anything that helped me.
Cockatoo, fuck off! No. So you mentioned that you wanted to help end the stigma around Tourette's and mental health issues. So what do you think that stigma is?
Well, first off, the way I've been raised is that going to ask for help, going to see someone about any mental issues or concerns, it's not really manly. It's like more of a feminine kind of thing. And that's like a really toxic way of thinking.
I can imagine that. Yeah. And has that changed in your family later on, or how's your family about this stuff now?
I usually do my best to kind of suppress it around most of my family because they don't really understand it.
I can imagine that's quite intense when you're young and still live at home and feel that you can't be yourself. Are there places like groups of friends or places online or anything where you do feel like you can be just yourself and not have to worry about like judgment or stuff like that?
When I'm around my friends, then I do try to be more myself than at home.
That's good. And they like gaming too, or?
A couple of them.
That's nice. Gaming is good. What are things that you wish people would just do better or understand that would make life easier for you in general?
First off would probably have to be the misgendering. I do get pretty upset with that. And also, I've had a couple bad ADHD days where I couldn't sit still. I couldn't focus in class. And I mean, my teachers were really helpful with that. And on Wednesday, Thursday, my history class was going over some notes and almost triggered an anxiety attack for me because of what was being covered. And it was scary.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, I have ADHD and I didn't know I had ADHD until, again, I was in my 20s. I was really late with everything. So that's, you're already ahead of me, so you'll be fine. But I know what that's like when stuff becomes just too, it just builds up in your head and it just becomes too much. And no, just no, this does not, I can't, no. And it gets really scary sometimes. And I know what that's like. Cockatoo, fuck off. No. So, how do your tics? How do your tics impact your life?
I see it more as not an inhibitor, but more of an obstacle. Just little bump in the road, crack in the sidewalk.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. Oh, I like that one. Yeah. So what are your hopes to when you're done with school? Where do you want to go? What are your hopes?
I don't know. Hopefully maybe do something like public speaking or something. Go out, talk about my experiences, and hope more people understand it's not all just made up. Because if it was made up, it would probably only be a few people, not a lot. That's
really good. Have you had have you done any of that stuff, for example, at school and I don't know what American education is like, but we usually have to give speeches or stuff like that. Have you done anything like that?
Not in a while. Last time I remember doing something like a speech, we were given topics by the teacher, and it was back when I was really young, actually. Don't remember how old I was. I think it was about 9 or 10. It's quite a while ago.
I think that's really good that you want to be a public speaker and talk to people and share your experience. Imagine that, okay, we are, I don't know, let's be optimistic, 5 years ahead. And most people finally understood that mental health issues are real and that we're not making it up and that Tourette's is real and that being trans is real, all of that. Once people get there, what do you wish people would do? How do you wish that the world will be different?
If it's a way of talking where they know that it's real, but society still doesn't accept it, then I would just hope they learn to be more open-minded and accept these different perspectives, these different lives that sometimes people think they don't matter, but they do.
That's really good. I like that. And I think you have a very interesting story to tell. So I think that'd be really cool to have you on the stage with on a TED Talk and share your story and have people listen. That I think that will be really cool. But
yeah, it's something I really, really want to do, and it seems like it could be really helpful, not just to a small group of people, but to like people all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because I think that people like you, I mean, we have a lot to offer. We can be so much more in the world. And it's a loss for them that they don't accept it. Because, I mean, it's just their boring life. And we can have some very interesting stories to tell.
Yeah.
So apart from that, just in general, some people just think that tics and Tourette's is somehow made up. What are some myths or stigmas or misunderstandings that you think that people have about tics?
Well, like you said earlier, it's not just swearing, it's not just shouting things, and it's not just hitting things. Which, from the people that I've seen that have Tourette's and tics, not all of them swear. Like, it's only a few out of the big group.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I think it's about like at most 15% of people with Tourette's have swearing tics. So that's a very small part of them. So what are some things that you do for yourself that makes stuff easier for you, that might be helpful for someone else watching that are going through like similar things?
Well, for my depression, there's not really much that really helps anymore because it's just gotten so bad. But I still try to do things that make me happy. Like, I listen to music. I sometimes draw, even though I'm not that good at drawing. I play video games, which is more of just like a short-term distractor.
Well, that's good. I mean, distraction is good, and for especially with tics, that really helps. I don't want to, like, because we only just met, like, to start talking about depression I know is a bit of a heavy topic, but can you tell me more about that?
A couple weeks ago, I had a really bad episode, and I was about to go through with something that would not have been good, and I mean, I would have missed out on so much in the short time.
Wow. Oh, that's intense. I'm so happy you're still here. Really.
I mean, talking about it does help, not just me, but it helps people with depression in general.
I think that's true, yeah. Because so many people will deal with that. I mean, that's true. It's part of the stigma that we don't talk about that. It'd be so much easier if we could just say it, I think, when it gets really bad. Yeah. So do you get any like help for like mental health issues? Do you have like therapy, or are you do you take medication, stuff like that?
I did at one point take meds, but they didn't really help. They just like made it a little worse, because when I was on the medication, I developed like anger problems. Didn't really do much to help.
And for ADHD, do you get like support for that or anything like that?
The medicine I was taking for my depression a couple of years ago, it also did help with ADHD. So while I may have developed some anger issues while on it, I did notice that my ADHD was better.
So you like Sweet Anita? Do you like any other like Twitch streamers or something like that?
I have found a couple smaller streamers who also do go through things with depression or other mental health, and it's been really helpful because then I know that if I need to talk to someone, then I could reach out, just not keep it bottled up inside.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, that's really nice. I really like that there's this whole movement online, and especially on Twitch, with this very like positive, but also like mental health positive, like being able to talk about stuff, but being a positive environment where you can just express stuff. I think that's such a good and important thing, because sometimes it's easier. I mean, do you find that sometimes it's easier to watch a live stream and put something in chat and talk about stuff than it is to, for example, say it to your parents or something like that?
Yeah, I do, because the people in there, they're not super close-minded. They're really, one of them is really open about her struggles, and I feel like we need more female influences in the way of like the gaming community, the mental health community.
That's true. Yeah, and I think Sweet Anita has been a very good example for that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Leo, for being a part of the series. If you want to be a part of the series, check out the email address in the description box below. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to talk to you. And I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.